Hello friends, in this video we will learn about some evidences against the theory of spontaneous generation. In previous video we talked about different theories of origin of life, and among them was the theory of spontaneous generation. This theory of spontaneous generation, it was upheld till the end of 17th century by both scientists and philosophers. Both scientists and philosophers believed in the theory of spontaneous generation. And we know that theory of spontaneous generation states that life originates spontaneously from the non-living material. Non-living material spontaneously gives rise to the living forms or the life. And this theory was challenged by Lazzaro Spallanzani, Francisco Redi, and was finally laid to rest by the Louis Pasteur. These three scientists performed experiments which disapproved the theory of the spontaneous generation. In this video, we will learn about the experiments performed by these scientists. So the first experiment that was performed in this direction was carried out by the Francisco Redi. Francesco Redi. So what Francisco Redi did is that Francisco Redi was an Italian. He was an Italian biologist and physician, Italian biologist and physician who performed an experiment in 1680 to challenge the theory of spontaneous generation. So what he did is that he took the meat pieces or fish in three separate jars. As you can see in the image, he took 3 meat pieces in 3 separate jars. Jar number 1, one of the jar was kept uncovered. So this first jar here, this is the uncovered jar. The meat piece here was kept without any cover. The second jar was kept closed. So this is the closed jar number 2. This was closed jar. It is completely closed jar. Its mouth was closed. While as the third jar was covered by the gauze. Jar number 3, this third jar, this was covered by, its mouth was also covered, but it was covered by a gauze. So what happened? Then he observed the meat pieces after several days. So what he did is that, what he found was that the first jar, the maggots developed after few days. Maggots are the larvae of the flies. So as you can say, flies visited the first jar because the first jar was open. So after some time, the flies were attracted towards the smell of the decaying meat, and that smell attracted the flies, and flies laid eggs on the meat pieces from which larvae or maggots developed. So maggots were found, maggots developed in the first jar. In the third jar, because it was covered by the gauze, and through the gauze the smell could come out and it attracted the flies. So flies were attracted towards the jar, but flies could not reach the meat piece. So they were unable to reach the meat piece, but because of the smell, they were attracted towards this jar. Therefore, they laid eggs. Eggs were laid by flies on the gauze. Therefore, the maggots developed in this case on the gauze. So here, the maggots or the larvae, they developed over the jar, developed over the gauze, Instead on the meat, they developed over the gauze. And in the jar number 2, in second jar, the second jar was completely closed so that not even air could come out of it. Therefore, flies could not be attracted towards the second jar. Therefore, in second jar, because no fly visited the jar, therefore no eggs were laid anywhere around or on the jar, and no maggot is developed near the near the jar. Therefore, this proved that eggs, that these maggots or the life forms, they arise from the eggs that were laid by the flies, and not by the abiogenetic process, wherein it was believed that maggots could have developed from the meat abiogenetically or spontaneously. But this experiment proved that even maggots could not develop abiogenetically from the decaying meat. So therefore, Francisco Redi, he challenged the theory of spontaneous generation. He stated that no animal or higher animals or larger animals could develop abiogenetically from non-living matter, and it is only the living organisms that can give rise to new forms. So this was the Francisco Redi's experiment. A similar experiment was performed by another scientist by the name of the Spallanzani. Now, Spallanzani performed the experiment in 1765. So this is here the Spallanzani's experiment. Spallanzani's experiment. So what Spallanzani did is that he, instead of taking the meat pieces or the fish, he took a broth of hay. He performed this experiment in 1765. So he took a broth of hay in a flask, as you can see, and he boiled the broth so that if any microorganism was present in the broth, that could be killed. Then the broth was cooled. So that broth was cooled, and the flask in which this broth was kept, that was kept open, and it was kept as such for certain period of time. After some time, he observed that there was growth of microorganisms. He observed that this broth, it could not remain unaffected. It could not remain without microorganisms, but microorganisms developed after some time when the flask was kept open. And then what he did is that after heating, another experiment, what he did was that after heating the broth, he immediately covered the flask. So in this second experiment, this is experiment number 2, this was experiment number 1. In second experiment, what he did was that he covered the mouth of the flask as soon as he boiled the broth. So this means that there was no chance of entry of the microorganisms into the flask or into the broth. And then the flask was kept as such for several days, and it was observed that no growth of microorganisms appeared in the flask. So there was no growth of microorganisms in the flask when the flask was covered. Then this covered flask was opened, the lid of the covered flask was opened, and then it was kept for few days, and after few days again the microorganisms developed in it. So this proved that even the microorganisms, they develop from the pre-existing microorganisms. When microorganisms were killed in the first flask, the broth remained sterile, or broth remained micro-free up till it was not exposed to the new microorganisms. When it was exposed to the new organisms after removing the lid of the flask, then only microorganisms developed in it. So again, this proves that abiogenesis is not possible, that life, even microorganisms, life arises from the pre-existing life. Then the final and the undisputed evidence against the theory of abiogenesis was carried out by the famous scientist Louis Pasteur. So this experiment is popularly called as the Pasteur's swan neck flask experiment. This experiment was performed by Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur performed this experiment in 1824. So this experiment was performed by Louis Pasteur in 1864. This experiment was performed by Louis Pasteur in 1864. So what he did is that he again took a broth in a flask, and this broth was non-sterile liquid. It was not sterilized as yet. Then what he did that he heated the neck of this flask. He heated this neck of the flask and converted into a swan-shaped bent, swan-shaped neck. So what he did is that after heating the neck of the flask, he converted into a swan neck form. So he bent the neck so that after heating the broth, after boiling the broth, after sterilizing the broth, the water vapors could get accumulated in the bent of the neck after their condensation. So you can see here in this image that the neck has been bent, as you can see, neck has been bent, and when the broth is then boiled, or in other words, the broth is sterilized or liquid is sterilized by extensive heating, and that extensive heating or boiling will naturally produce the water vapors. Water vapors will come out through the open mouth of the bent neck. But during the condensation, some of the water vapors will get trapped in the bent of the neck. So some of the water will be condensed in the bent of the neck. Then what he did is that he kept this for a prolonged period of time. So after boiling and this broth, he kept the neck as such without any disturbance. So what he found that there was no growth in the broth. So there was no growth of microorganisms in the broth, and broth could remain sterile for indefinite period of time. Microorganisms, however, were found from the bent portion of the neck. So the bent portion of the neck that was in direct contact with the atmosphere, microorganisms could enter through the open mouth, and they got trapped in the water that was condensed in the bent part. So bent part in a way acted as a filter. It did not allow the microbes to enter or to reach the broth. Therefore, broth remained sterile for indefinite period of time. It remained sterile. There was no growth. However, microorganisms were found in the bent part. So microorganisms or microbes were present in the bent part of the neck, but they were not present in the flask or in the broth portion. Then he broke the neck. He broke the neck of his swan neck flask, and after breaking his neck, he kept the broth for few days, and after few days, the microbes developed in the broth. So after few days, when the neck was broken, the water trap was now missing. Water trap was not available. Now microbes could directly enter into the broth, and this led to the growth of the microbes in the broth. So this broth turned stale, and this again proved that even the microorganisms could not develop abiogenetically. Even microorganisms develop from the pre-existing microorganisms by their division. So the experiment is performed by these three scientists that laid to rest the abiogenesis theory, which was upheld by both scientists and the philosophers up till the end of the 17th century. So this was about the evidence against the abiogenetic theory. In the next video, we will talk about now the modern or the Operheim-Haldane theory, which is also called as the chemical theory or naturalistic theory in detail. Thank you.